Hi, I'm Brian Murray. You may know me as Kin Shadow on some parts of the internet. Today I'm going to talk about a card game I designed called Freelancers. Freelancers is inspired by a popular video game called Star Citizen. In Freelancers, players take the roles of job well agents trying to recruit space pilots to fly a specific mission that they are responsible for. Let's take a look at how the game is set up. Before setting up, I want to address a couple of quick differences in various ways you can get the game. First of all, you can print the game online via print and play file. If you do that, you'll need to bring your own victory points, starting player marker, and dice. If you're playing a two-player game, you only need two dice. If you're playing a three-player game, 3 dice, 4 dice for a four-player game. Similarly, you need enough so that you have enough victory points markers for 2 for every player plus 1, and then something to count as a starting player marker. If you get the Game Crafter version of this, it comes with all of this and 2 sets of cards. If you order the drive-through cards version, you'll need to order 2 sets of cards if you want to play with up to 4 players. With the drive-through cards version, this quick reference card works as the starting player marker. So you just need the dice and victory points in addition to that. All right, now I'll show you the cards so you can see the various ones there are for the gameplay. Freelancers has 4 suits representing the type of work the different pilots do. So there are the red mercenaries, the blue bounty hunters, the yellow traders, and every card has a gray suit on the back representing the pilot going rogue. What rogue means is that the pilot has started accepting jobs outside of the job well recruiting agency or guild or however you want to put it, and they are now being frowned upon by job well themselves. So you may or may not get as many points for getting a gray card. Speaking of points, during the game, you're also going to want to try and match the numbers in these cards to the dice that you have. And so there are 1, 2, 3, and 5. Those only match to those specific numbers on dice. There are 2, 4, 6 cards. Those match to 4 or 6. And there are odd, even, and prime cards. So obviously, odd and even are 1, 3, and 5, 2, 4, and 6. Prime actually includes 1, though 1 is not technically a prime number, but for the sake of this game, it is 1, 2, 3, and 5. All right, now I'll get to how to lay the game out before you play. First, I'll show you a setup for a 2-player game. You'll want to take 1 stack of 9 cards, shuffle them with the colored side up and gray side down. You'll want to discard 1 for every member of at the table, so that's 2 cards. Make sure you stagger the number. The contents of the discard pile are always known. You want to draw what's called an on-deck card and then 1 preview card. And that's your basic setup for the cards. Then you want to put 2 dice in the center of the table to be shared by the 2 players. These dice, 2 numbers together, represent the mission that you're both trying to recruit for. The mission is obviously a combination of different things the numbers may represent, such as a trading mission that needs an escort, or a bounty hunting mission that needs additional fighter, something like that. For a 3 to 4 player game, you need 2 sets of 9 cards. Again, shuffled colored side up, gray side down. We'll do a 4-player game. Again, you discard 1 card for every player at the table. Again, stagger them so that you can see the numbers. Also, there will be 1 on-deck card, just like before, but instead of 1 preview card, there's now 2 preview cards. For the dice, instead of being in the middle of the table, they are now on either side of every player, and they are shared. So there are 4 dice at the table. Each player is responsible for 2 dice, and each die is shared by 2 players. you'll be scoring against the die on your right and your left at the end of the game. So those numbers are very important for you when you're picking cards. All right, now I'll get into the gameplay. In Freelancers, gameplay starts with the person who has the first player's token and then proceeds clockwise, with each person taking one of 6 possible actions on their turn. Gameplay continues until all cards that could fill the on-deck position are gone and the on-deck card itself. When all the cards are gone, you do scoring, and the first player marker moves to the left to start the next round. On your turn, your 6 possible actions are a take, in which you take the top discard and put it in front of you, or you take the on-deck card, take the on-deck card and put it in front of you. If you take the on-deck card, you slide a preview card into the on-deck position, slide the other preview card over, and take one card off the draw pile to the last preview position. The next potential actions is a push action, which you take the on-deck card, flip it over to gray, and you put it on the discard pile. If the on-deck card happens to already be gray, you do not flip it over. Cards in the discard pile are always gray. You would then slide over, just like a take action, from preview to on deck, and then fill the preview slot. The next 3 actions require you to pay a non-gray card. So you would take a non-gray card, meaning a yellow, blue, or red card, and you could either trade or manipulate a dice with that card. You would take the card, flip it over to gray for a trade action, and then take a card either from the on-deck position or the preview position and replace it with that new gray card. If you have a gray card in your hand, if this card was already gray, I could never get rid of it. It always costs something. You can only get rid of colored cards. If I were to, the other thing I can do with a non-gray card is set a die, in which I take the card, flip it to gray, and then set either an opponent's die or one that I score off of to a value that card would score from. If that card was, for instance, the even card, I could set it to 2, 4, or 6. If it's the 5 card, then I would set it just to 5. I could also take that card, flip it to gray, and put it on the discard pile, which would allow me to roll either one of my die or my opponent's die. That covers all of the gameplay. Now let's move on to scoring. Now on to scoring. Scoring is broken into 2 phases. First, based on the number or letter on the card, and then based on the suit. For the number on the letter or number or letter on the card, you want to compare the symbol to the 2 dice that you have. If a card matches 1 die, it is worth 1 point. If a card matches both dice, it is worth 2 points. If a card matches neither dice, it is worth -1 points. So in this case, 2 plus 1 minus 1, meaning this hand is 2 points. If you have suits with more than 1 card in it, you get a bonus point for those suits. So in this case, it would be -1 points, 2 points, 1 point, 1 point, meaning 3 total for the numbers, +1 for the yellows, +1 for the reds, meaning total of 5 points. This particular hand also has no gray cards in it, which is an additional bonus points you can earn. So for this hand's case, it is worth a total of 6 points. If your hand only has 1 color in it, then you can potentially earn the last bonus point. In this case, it would be 1 plus 1, +1 for reds, +1 for no grays, +1 for only 1 color. So these 2 cards are worth 5 points. Suit bonuses and solid and only 1 color bonuses also apply to grays. So this hand would be 1, 2 points for the numbers, 1 point for the one suit, 1 point for only one color, but it would not get that fifth point for having no grays. So this hand would be worth 4 points. If you have the highest score in a round, then you get a victory point. If multiple people have the same score, they all get the same victory point. All get a victory point unless everyone at the table has the same score. If everybody ties, which is pretty unlikely in a 3 or more player game, then nobody gets a victory point. The first person to 3 victory points wins the game. Thanks for watching and thanks for playing.